So it's been a week, but it's great to be podcasting again. Feel kind of like it's my first time podcasting. I feel like I haven't podcasted in a million years, but I think that we're gonna pull off a great show today. And before we can jump into any of that, I guess we need some opening banter. You got any ideas? Any banter ideas?
Where are you on the Apple TV?
I have told you before, Michael, that I haven't had an Apple product since the fat iPod.
Right. Okay. I forgot that, you were not the person to talk to about, credible tech and
if you want to talk streaming services that are niche, though, I have recently, this isn't sponsored by Shudder, but I've been watching some stuff on Shudder. It's a streaming platform that's specific. This seems so sponsored, but it's not.
It's
streaming
guys,
platform that's specific to horror movies, and watched quite a few gems on there. We talked about The Void, and right now I'm watching this movie called Castle Freak by the same guy, I think, that did Herbert West Reanimator, the another classic B movie. You see any of these movies, Michael?
Have not heard of any of those. No.
Well, Herbert West is pretty amazing because there's this one part where this guy gets his head cut off, and then the whole thing is that you can like reanimate people, kind of like Frankenstein, but with like a serum instead of electricity. It's not really that important. Point is that like he's like a head in like a tray of blood, and then he can still command the body around. So it's pretty fun.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So I'd recommend you watch that. Any good horror movies, Michael? We'll give you a chance to get a horror movie recommendation for summer horror movie. What do you got?
Okay, so I can't give a movie because I've been a little out of the game for movie. Although I did watch Midsummer, and that was terrifyingly beautiful.
Well, that one is the definition of a summer horror movie, dude. So you nailed it.
That's true. Midsummer, we're kind of Midsummer. Yeah. But as a quick, like actual, just sincerely, I loved it. I would check out the series, the Haunting of Bly Manor.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
And
on Netflix.
Haunting of Hill House as well, right?
I'm still on that. Like we watched the first couple episodes, and it just felt a bit, I don't know. Bly Manor feels more prioritizing plot versus the scares, like almost incorporating it like more smart. And then
true.
Hill House has felt a bit more scary than it has been trying to tell me a story. But I've been told that it gets way better, that it's a fantastic show, and it's like on par with Bly Manor.
Yeah,
so I gotta watch Hill House as well.
There's a twist coming. That's your good news.
That's quite a twist right there.
But another twist that I have for everybody is this song that I have in store for you. I'm not sure why it's a twist, because we always play a song now. But maybe it's a twist because I'm playing it on electric guitar. Anyways, give me a second. Michael, you keep telling people about Bly Manor, why you like it. I'm gonna get my guitar ready.
All right, so Bly Manor. I mean, look, everyone's been there. You like watching your movies. You like watching your shows, especially of the horror variety. But here's the thing. How many of these are telling good narratives? Not a lot of them. Not a lot of them, right? We need better narratives, better storytelling in horror. And now what's awesome is that we're getting, a lot of the shows that we would typically see in a movie format. I mean, we're talking about even Marvel, right? We're seeing Marvel play with the TV show space. And so I love that we're playing a lot more with horror series. Obviously, American Horror Story, is that what it's called? American Horror Story. They have got a great series. They've been doing great stuff. I love the Carnival one, or the Freak Show one. But yeah, with Bly Manor, you get the time you need through that series to really tell the story you want to do, while also keeping viewers on edge, both from a storytelling perspective and from a horror perspective as well. So really good show. Please go check that out. Again, we're not sponsored by this either, nor Netflix. But I think that's enough there. Jared seems to be back in his chair, ready to go with a song. I've been told by the producers backstage, by the way, that this is Jared's finest creation yet. So we'll have to see how this goes. Jimmy's always been a filthy liar, but if he's wrong here, we're going to can him.
Shots fired. Michael's going to replace me on the podcast if I don't kill this
No,
song,
not you.
so.
Jimmy, the guy behind the stage.
Oh, behind the stage.
Guy,
Okay.
who was telling me, give me the tidbits of information.
Jimmy Cheap Cam.
Jimmy Cheap Cam. Yeah, exactly. He's pulling the strings. He's making the cartons go. Yeah.
Okay, dude. We've probably looped this intro so many times. I better get into the song.
That's okay. This is my favorite part.
Yeah, here we go. It's your favorite part when you don't have to do the frickin' song. All right, we're ready to rock this. There is a podcast on Spotify they call the PHOTOBROS. So grab a coffee or a beer. The podcast just begun. Dear listeners, I am your photographer, Jared Poirier, and we are here with another stunning photographer with a beard and a beautiful orange hat on to complement my blue shirt. Who are you, sir?
Morning, folks. We have just witnessed greatness. I think we need to take a second here. I want everyone to take their hats off and put them near their chest, and let's respect this man for through a moment of silence. I think that's it. That's a good moment of silence there. Jared, I didn't realize I was buying time. I was just kind of going off on a banter, but here's what we're gonna do. All right, now we're gonna talk about how Jared gave me no notice on this banter reel, but here we are, and Jared seems to be back, so I didn't need to do too much while he was gone. Jared, what's going on, man? How do you feel about your performance?
It was pretty good, man. It was pretty good. I should have learned the finger picking. I kind of, just went with the strumming on that. It's a classic finger picking song. Maybe one that would have been more suited to Michael Costa's guitar talents, as he's more proficient, I guess you could say, with that particular methodology, that particular approach to the guitar. But did my best, it was about podcasts and photography, so I guess we have that. And speaking about podcasts and speaking about photography, we have today a classic episode of Photography Brothers. We've been doing so many guest episodes, and I'm just pumped to be here, just me and Michael, like old times, And we've got a brilliant topic. I guess we might as well tell people what the topic is right now. Michael, you want to tell people what the topic is?
Yeah, it's basically how to take an L.
How to take an L.
So I think first what we're going to do is we're going to break down a few examples of L's, and then from there we may or may not give you the actual, pieces of advice, the tidbits that help us through it, or we'll just let you fall on your face yourself. But we're going to see how the time goes here.
Yeah, we're going to see if we have enough time to actually help you or just leave you dangling off the cliff. No, we're definitely going to provide some tips as we do here on the show.
Just give them more reasons to worry, more things to think about.
I'm really worried about these bad things that are coming. No, we're to go back on the old role-playing game analogy of the podcast, we're here to give you the armor, the swords, the magical skills, whatever you need to succeed. If you don't know what an L is, that's a loss, just in case, if you don't if you're not up on the lingo and you're just super confused. Yeah, that's,
if you're like what's an L, then you are privileged. You have no idea.
Yeah. No, we're talking about taking a loss here, and it's something that's going to happen in any endeavor that you take on, any line of work, any creative passion that you choose to pursue, pretty much at anything that you try to do, sometimes you're going to lose. Even LeBron James loses basketball games sometimes, right? Like no matter who it is, there's going to be times when you come up against that L, and you've got to be able to stare that L in the face, and really you have to be able to accept it, because at the end of the day, if you can't take an L and you can't move forward from that, then you're basically just going to be stuck in the same, you're going to be like a dog chasing your tail, essentially, right? Just kind of running around over and over again, not really getting anywhere. And, you're going to make mistakes. The important thing is that you learn from those mistakes and kind of move on, right, Michael?
Yes, Jared is not only a master guitar player and vocalist, he's also a poet. So yeah, we know I agree with every word. The only thing I ask is that you make the words rhyme next time, and then that way we can turn it into a hip hop remix.
Oh yeah, I'll work on that. Next time we'll do an original song. Next time, I don't really have the rhymes coming to the top of my head right now. I'm trying to think about photography, and photography doesn't rhyme with a lot of things. Maybe geography.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't know.
Let's
There's
break
gotta
them
be
down.
something there. Anyways,
let's break these things down. Huh?
What are the what are some of the L's that you're gonna face in photography? Maybe, since it is a photography podcast, let's start there, man. So what are some L's you can expect to take in photography?
Cool. Yeah. So definitely got a few here, and you're going to notice that they're really going to range because there are many L's, different types of L's that you can have for sure. So the first one I have here is losing out on a project or in general due to pricing. On a project bid or due to pricing. So what I mean there is, if you lose out on a bid, sometimes you'll have it where you're not the only person producing media for or offering to do that, and that's usually with larger clients, and so they'll kind of be weighing out their options as far as pricing and hopefully a bit more goes into the decision than that, but often pricing. And if you lose that on a bid, then you don't get the job, the other guy gets the job, or in general just due to pricing. So that's one there. I also have rushing footage resulting in out of focus or distracting visuals in your frame that you didn't take enough time to kind of to look at and take out, to remove from the frame. And then depending on what you're shooting, if it's like film or something that has a linear timeline and narrative, you're going to miss continuity errors. And, again, that's an L because you're getting poor footage, right? And then the last one I had here was a client not liking or approving your final cut or set.
Yeah, that's a lot of crossover with what I have here. Couple that you didn't touch on, I would say broken gear is one that definitely, or even malfunctioning gear, stuff like that. Footage not coming out how you want is definitely something, but I've even had situations, the longer you guys do this, I've been doing this for like 4 years now, you will eventually, I'm sorry to say it, and it's terrifying, but you will eventually lose footage off of a memory card. These these SD cards, they are fallible, so you're gonna have to learn to deal with that. And that one that, there's not a lot that you can do to prevent this. It's more like how you address it, how you bounce back from it. Every once in a while, there's just going to be a global pandemic that comes along and makes your photography business really difficult. So you're going to want to look out for that. But we actually have, other than maybe that last one, like I said, very difficult to prevent. But we're going to give you some tactics, some solutions to these issues. I definitely have a few here, and I'm assuming that Michael has a few solutions as well. Out of all of these things that we've brought up, Michael, all of these challenges, all of these potential L's, which ones have you experienced, or all of them?
Definitely all of them, and some still to date. To date. I think one that definitely still happens I don't want to say frequently, but it's definitely still happens from time to time, is rushing footage. And just not taking the time to make sure I got the shot. And I think the best thing you can do is, or at least one of them, I'm sure Jared will have some good points too, but I think it's good to try and prioritize getting 2 at least, but up to 3 takes that work.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And when you're doing that, you're going through the exercise of prioritizing quality. You're going to be slowing everything down by nature, reviewing your viewfinder, seeing what's going on in frame. And in general, I think, maybe this is a separate one for this issue as well, but, having a checklist can help, and maybe bringing that on set with you. So that way you can go through it, make sure. Me and Jared, we use a checklist for this show. We haven't visually read through it for a while, but I think we understand what they are because we're like 32 episodes in now. But yeah, we'll still, before the show goes, hey, are your earphone volumes too high? Because it can bleed through the mic, right? Little things like that. And it's to help with quality, right? Do you have any tips for this, L?
For that one in particular, I would just say like putting in the care while you're on set is definitely a big part of that. Like you said, have multiple takes, have stuff for security. Yeah, man, I think you pretty much covered a lot of it. I mean, having steps that you always follow, having a checklist to make sure that that everything is in place. The only really other one that I can think of off the top of my head is like developing a like specialty or a specialization where you're kind of doing similar shoots over and over again. Sometimes, you don't want to do that all the time. You're going to get pretty bored. But definitely specializing in something. Like I shoot a lot of real estate and things like that. So I'm pretty well prepared if that comes along,
Yeah. And then I guess by being so well prepared, by understanding your specific craft well enough, like you know what to look for. You know how to cancel things out, and then practice makes perfect. You end up at a point where it doesn't take you that long to even check for these quality issues anymore.
Yep. Another problem that you're definitely going to face. I face it all the time. I think it was maybe our like second episode or third episode. You're too expensive, if you guys remember that episode. A classic. It was before we did the song at the beginning, regrettably. Should have thought of that one earlier, but still a classic, a vintage episode of Photography Brothers. And that one's just going to happen. I feel like there's no place where you could set your rates where people aren't going to say you're too expensive. So just set your rates where you need to set them to be able to keep your business open and make a profit and be able to hopefully afford your rent, buy some groceries. You've got expenses. You're going to want to keep those covered. So whether you're doing a flat rate on shoots or pricing hourly, you just got to price it the way, like, you really honestly, you have to do the math, figure out what your expenses are, where you're actually going to be making a little bit of profit that's going to keep you, like, again, keep you functioning, keep you shooting photos, and help you enjoy your life a little bit as well, and be able to afford certain things. So maybe a beer every now and again, or a nice coffee every now and again. And don't be dissuaded, is that a word?
I'm not sure. I can check.
I'm gonna say it's the opposite of persuaded. Yeah, you check it. Don't be discouraged, I'll go with. I know that's a word. Yeah, discouraged.
Don't be discouraged.
Yeah. Don't be discouraged when people tell you that you're too expensive. Like, take that as a badge of honor and just stand by that pricing, right? Like, if you've actually like put it into an Excel spreadsheet, blah, 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 this is how much money I need to make a profit in this photography business, which is what you have to do. You just have to stand by that. If you standardize it that way, I think that's really going to help you as well. Help you take some of the emotion out of it, and just know that saying no to those low price gigs, like if someone only wants to pay you, let's say like $100 for a shoot, or they're like, oh man, I'll give you like $50 and a 6-pack for a shoot, you're like, you know what? You might have to say no to that, and just know that saying no to those is actually saying yes to something better. That's definitely something that you need to keep in mind, right? Like if you're always doing this busy work, like shoots for very little money, eventually you're going to be in the place where you're not looking for better work. You're not looking for something that's going to help you take your business to the next level. So those are kind of just L's that you need to embrace, I think. And they're not even really L's from that perspective, right?
No.
Like if you have to say, and I do it all the time, like there's one very fresh in my head, not going to say the person's name or nothing, but yeah, like just someone who, approached me, liked my work and asked me for a quote and then said, oh, well, that's like, I can't pay you that much and blah, blah. And I'm like, well, you know what? I'm just going to say that's fine. And I'm going to happily move on to the next bigger thing. And, frankly, I did book a photo shoot for exactly the same rate that I was trying to charge them just a few days later. So reaffirmed my faith that, my pricing is reasonable and the work that I'm doing is at a level where it justifies, maybe not that my pricing is crazy, but, a nice cost that's worth my time.
Yeah, I think you have some really good points there. I like, obviously, focusing on the positive side to it. I think one positive thing that you're kind of bringing out of this is that it's not like an L. It's a kind of an opportunity to filter out the people you don't want to work with, and then also maybe it is a situation where, and I'm not saying this is Jared's situation. Jared has been doing this for a while. He's a professional. His rates are more than reasonable. But if you are somebody who maybe is newer to the game, maybe your pricing, it might be above what the threshold is, right? And, that's when it's a good chance for you to maybe reflect. Maybe it's something that you're hearing a lot right now. So go back, reflect on your pricing. If you have other folks that are in your space that you're close enough with, it doesn't hurt to kind of tell them what's been going on, ask them what their pricing is. It helps. Again, the closer you are, they're going to be a bit more open to sharing that information with you. But I think, the other alternative, and of course me and Jared have even had an episode stem from one of these, is looking online and seeing how other people are structuring their pricing, or how in general they are pricing their work. So I think, everything that Jared said is awesome, but also, again, if it's something you hear a lot, great opportunity for reflection. And again, not an L. This is not an L at all.
Yeah, for sure. Any on the topic of breaking gear, maybe let's switch gears, pun intended. Let's talk about that, I guess. Some ways that you can A, prevent that from happening, or B, move on. I think, Michael, you have a personal story of smashing some pretty expensive gear before, right, buddy?
Oh man, I have so many, unfortunately.
Oh, a lot of them? Uh-oh, I know about
yeah,
one too. It's Confessions. Welcome to Confessions of Michael Costa, the podcaster.
Okay, I'll give you a quick one, and then I'll give you because it's funny, and then I'll give you like a legit example that we'll probably bounce off of. But quick one, there was we have a place here called Ontario Place. It's actually being renovated. It's gonna look gorgeous, but every winter they do this sort of light fest. They wrap all the trees in lights. It's a very
super
cool thing. Very cool, yeah. And so I was out, I'm gonna say 4 or 5 years ago, and we're just walking around with some photographer friends, taking photos, and everyone knows Canon's. Like, look, I'm a Sony guy. Okay, I got a lot of respect for this lens. Everyone knows about the Plastic Fantastic. All right, the 50mm f1.8, the thing. You don't want to drop that. You don't want to drop that from too high up. You know what I mean? It's not. It's literally made of fully recycled plastic. You're not going deep water diving with that for sure. But I dropped it from maybe hip height, and the actual front glass piece of the thing popped off and flew off. And all the elements were exposed. So yeah, that was one. The big one though is actually during a gig. It's thankfully near the end of that gig. I dropped my 5D Mark II, and that was the end of its life. It was already a used camera.
That one hurts.
Yeah. Hey, that's when I left Canon.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Too bad. History could have been very different had you not dropped that camera. And
Maybe.
Especially smashing the 5D, man. That really sucks. How are you able to move forward after that, though? Like, obviously, you didn't give up on photography, so.
No, definitely not. So I guess what I had to look at was, having an option. And actually, what was nice is that it's not that I had foreseen this. I just, I saw the A6000 at the time, which was a decently new camera. I think the A63 had just come out. And, the A6, the Canon camera I had did not shoot continuous video, and I wanted to start doing video again. So I had purchased this camera as a backup to this older camera that I already had. You never know what's going to happen, but also to use it as my video primary. And thankfully, having that backup helped me, be able to, not really miss too much of a beat. And unfortunately for Jared, it was that transition, that camera that I had to live with for a year, that has me today still shooting Sony.
Yeah, it can work out, It worked out. I mean, you did end up with a camera that you love, a camera system that you love in the end. I think yeah, maybe the biggest part of dealing with that, I've never broken an entire camera body. Oh wait, no, I did break my girlfriend's camera, but it was a point and shoot.
Oh, so, no.
Yeah. It was a point and shoot. I actually have a video. If I remember, I'll link it down below about breaking my girlfriend's camera.
Oh boy.
I actually tried to buy a very similar one, but obviously she noticed, right? There was no way getting that.
Wait, you bought one and then just slid it back into place or whatever?
I tried, yes, I did try. And she was like, this is clearly different. I was like, yeah. Anyways.
Because she's going to remember any of the damage that she put on it, right? It's like, well, where's this? Where's this ding? I don't understand.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I dropped it. It was a point and shoot, and I dropped it lens first, so that when you turned it on, it would just go chugga 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 chugga.
That's
yeah.
hilarious.
Anyways, I will link it. I'll link that video down below. You guys can check that out. But when you do smash gear, I think that you just have to look at the bigger picture, and again, that's where really having the vision there, having a larger vision in place of what you're trying to do, whether that's doing some good, giving back with your photography business, which we try to do on this podcast as much as possible, and I try to do with Galaxy as much as possible. And whether it's something like that, or you're just trying to build a better future for yourself and for your family, right? And have some type of work to do that is fulfilling to you, right? Where you don't have to have that 9 to 5. You can focus on your passion, whatever it is, whatever that vision is, that thing that you're working towards. I think keeping that in mind is going to help you through, if you break your gear, of course, but a lot of these that we're talking about, even the hardest ones. Let's get into the hardest one here. I was kind of joking. There's probably not going to be, at least I hope not, a global pandemic ever again, or hopefully not for a while anyways. But
we're not clean out of this one yet, so
yeah, I mean, I went to the movie theater, so I feel like we are, but I know
okay. That's the threshold. Sorry, go ahead.
I could eat popcorn again, so I felt like it was over. But I guess it's not. But when it comes to I feel like I'm talking really fast, so people who listen to our podcast at 1.5% speed, it's going to be really intense.
You're good.
Yeah,
because you start at normal, but then it's a gradual increase throughout the episodes. They've adjusted to the progression.
For sure. Then it's fine. But anyways, with the economy and stuff the way it is, there is going to be, economic trouble every once in a while. So this is something that you should be prepared for, I guess. Maybe what are some ways to ensure that your business is, let's say, recession ready? You know what I mean? How do you make sure that your business can survive hard economic times?
Yeah. So I think the best thing that you can do, and look, me and Jared kind of did this. We had to adapt. I think that's one of the things is, it especially helps if it's obvious that it's not going to be forever, or it's not going to take too long. But in general, I think broadening your skill set, to kind of just prepare for that kind of thing. For me, I was primarily shooting photos before this pandemic began, and then slowly but surely some gigs did start coming in, but it was all video. And it's something I had played with. It had been something that I'd used for tabletop videos, but I wasn't doing anything too complicated. But it's pretty impressive now how much growth that I've had just by adapting to what was currently available in the market. And now coming out of fingers crossed this pandemic, I have another offering that I feel more confident like putting out there.
Yeah, man, that's dope that you bring that one up, because that was the first one on my list right here.
Of course.
Diversifying, having more than one usable skill. And I was like so thinking about your example of someone who was, predominantly a photographer and had those video skills on the back burner, especially from being so involved with your own content and making stuff on YouTube, and similar to my story, that I got into all of that just for fun, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
my example definitely fits that as well, like how I used to be more oriented towards graphic design. I still do a bit of graphic design, but as I got those video skills up, that became another source of income. So I think that's definitely one way that you can avoid that L, or with the theme of this podcast being able to kind of take that L and embrace it. Like maybe you do have there is a economic downturn of some type. Maybe you do lose a client. Maybe you do lose part of your business, but you've got like something else. So yeah, being able to diversify in terms of skill set. Some people also only have like one client. They have like a one client business if it's like a really big company that's getting them to do something, or the federal government or something like that.
Right.
Again, I don't think that's like the best. I mean, it's unlikely the government will go away, but they might defund that particular program, in which case like you'll be screwed. So I think again on that point, like from the skills level, but also from the client level, having a little bit of diversity, and you're not going so crazy that you're I don't know, crazy example, you're shooting at the zoo, and you're also shooting presidential portraits, right? Like maybe you don't want to diversify that hard, but or maybe shooting a bunch of gorillas and then going over to shoot the president might not be that different. So
it sounded so bad how you're like going over to shoot a bunch of gorillas and then to go and shoot the president.
Anyways,
I'm going to share this video from that timestamp.
We've got a very exciting news story to bring to all of you today from Michael. Where's this article from? What's the title of this news article here, buddy?
This article is actually from the Ottawa Citizen. And it says, I don't know if this is pronounced as a word or by letter. I'm going to say SPAO, maybe SPAO.
Sure.
So it's Ottawa's private college for photography, and it's offering free tuition to full-time students this fall. Really cool. And
very cool.
Yeah, it's written by Peter Hum, by the way. I'm
sure
very... you all...
Very exciting, very motivational, I guess, inspiring news. When I came across this, there's a lot of negativity and stuff like that when you read the news. Sometimes even in photography news, people find a way to make it negative sometimes. But this is just some good times, something to make everybody's day a little bit better. So this is going to be butter for your ears when you hear this news story. So we're talking about a school of photographic arts in Ottawa. It's a private photography school. They offer 2-year programs in the art of photography, and they are not cheap, man. So these programs typically would be running you $15,000 for the 2-year program, right? So pretty expensive, comparable really to going to university, I'd say, but much more career oriented. And they have typically about like 16 students, to give you an idea of the size of the school. So pretty prestigious and pretty, pretty small school, kind of providing a very unique, very special opportunity to people who are able to sign up. And I guess for this year, everybody is getting free tuition, which is pretty nuts. Did you read into any of the reasons and stuff behind this, Michael?
I have not.
Oh, that's okay. I did.
This.
That's cool because I did. The reason behind this is that the people who own the school, and this is a private school, they don't get any government money or anything like that, but they were just feeling that kind of sense that we were talking about earlier today, right? That feeling of when is the pandemic over? When can we get back to normal? When should we start doing things? When should we as photographers be out there, shooting, living our lives to the fullest, doing what we want to do? So I think that is something that they were trying to address, right? And just saying, okay, we're gonna set things straight. We're gonna set everything back to normal. Kind of turn that crazy dial back down to like a 4 instead of a 10. Whoop, back to normal a little bit, and give people a chance here to recover, right? I mean, people have been hit pretty hard. I don't know about you, Michael. I don't have a lot of spare 15 grands lying around right now, right? Like, so to give these people
no.
No, he's like, no. If we did, we'd spend it on camera gear. Trust me, guys. But just give people a chance here. Give people an opportunity to get a leg up. And this is going to be a very good leg up to get all of that experience, all of that knowledge, rather than having to learn it yourself on YouTube like me and Michael did. So yeah, another thing that's great about this is that they want to prioritize like marginalized groups, indigenous groups, trans people, black people, all of that type of stuff, giving them a chance to get into photography as well, which I think is great.
Mm-hmm. I like the quote that he had in here. Now I don't want to be in survival mode anymore. I want to be thriving again. Kind of speaking to, I guess, what Jared was just speaking about. But yeah, by the way, if you are interested in doing this, it is applications are due by August 24th. I'm not sure if this podcast is going to be up before or after.
Are you crazy?
That dates.
This podcast will be up, I'm pretty sure, before that.
Okay. If this is August 23rd, you get your ass and $15,000 over to wherever you got to go.
Yeah, I guess I'll make an effort. I'll prioritize getting this podcast up before the due date of this. Otherwise, I guess this information won't be super helpful. It'll still be an interesting story, though, and it is heartwarming. Oh, yeah. And they're not getting any government funding. They're just doing their own thing, and they're able to offer this and kind of wave the flag and just say, like, okay, like, let's get back to work here. Let's start creating again. Let's not be afraid. Kind of taking away that hurdle for a lot of people to be creative. So I would encourage anybody out there, look for things like this, be aware of these opportunities. Yeah. If you're in a job that you don't necessarily love, but you do have a little bit of creative passion, maybe you want to get into photography, videography, you want to become a content creator, anything like that, I think it's important to remember that you're not necessarily locked into your position in life. There are like grants and things available. I started my business with a with a grant from the city of Toronto. I'd encourage everybody to do that. Go out, chase your dreams. I think will be the message of today's shorter episode of the podcast news segment. Anyways, I'm pretty sure that's the podcast. What do you think, dude?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so it's been a very fun episode. Like I said, we've had a lot of guest episodes, but it's nice to do one with Michael and all the listeners here. So it's been a great time. We'll start rolling that outro music. Before we go, anybody that you'd like to thank? Anything that you want to shout out, Michael?
I want to thank Cusco.
Off the top. Ooh.
He has almost vomited on my bed 3 times since.
Okay.
But we're making progress here because the first time he went to throw up on my bed, I said, no. And I pulled my sweater out like this. And he was dodging his head. He's like, no. For some reason, he's persistent. Wants to vomit on my bed. I catch it with my sweater. Disgusting, right? I know. Second time, I grab a blanket. He's still a little dodgy, but he throws up on the blanket. It's not my sheets here, right? My beautiful white sheets. The last time, I put a couple ply, right? Like a thick ply of towel. Or no, what is it? Paper towel. And you know what? No dodging. He's like, okay, this is the spot. So I've essentially trained him to just puke on whatever I put in front of him rather than the bed.
Michael, when I said that we should work on refining the outro, this isn't exactly what I had in mind.
I'd like to thank Cusco. That's it. All right. You want to just use that cut? What do you... I want to thank Jared, great host. I want to thank Arrow for shooting his shot.
Yep. Thanks, Arrow, for organizing this chaos into something listenable, hopefully. If you want to check out some other stuff, you can check out Michael. He's doing some music reaction stuff over on Michael Costa Music. If you want to check out me, I'm also reacting to music. Crazy, right? You can check that out on YouTube as well. Links for all of that stuff down in the description. I don't know. You can follow us on Twitter, photo_bros_pod. You can subscribe to our newsletter. I'm not sure what I'm doing with my fingers right here, but we'll see you next week.